I was looking at a glistening book on the table. It was a skill book, albeit a very low-ranked one. I stopped at the Fireball, an F-rank spell that only the most unfortunate beginners start with. But this skill book took a majority of my remaining inheritance and all of my savings. I was known to be a fairly smart guy before everything went to shit, so I planned ahead before spending most of my money. In the worst-case scenario, I would still have enough funds to last me at least a few months. In the best-case scenario, as planned, I would consume this skill book and hope for a semi-decent talent when I wake up. Getting this skill book was not easy, but it was the only way to become enlightened if you didn't already have it within you. The rich had no problem enlightening themselves, their children, and their grandchildren. If you are enlightened, then you are known as awakened. I looked at the skill book again before steeling my resolve and picking it up. Bringing it close to my chest, I closed my eyes. A few seconds passed before I saw a flash of light, even though my eyes were closed. After I opened them, the book in my hands had disappeared, and in the corner of my eyes, something else had appeared. Noah, Vitality, 10. Focus, blank. Strength, 10. Skills, Fireball. As it shone with blue light, the words brought confusion more than relief to me. Why the hell was the focus blank? Ever since the apocalyptic event that killed more than 1 billion people occurred, a new magical world took place. People who were known as awakened appeared, and others could also become awakened through learning. This is what skill books were for. They were often dropped from killed monsters. Yes, monsters. Magical beings that most commonly resided in dungeons and occasionally came out whenever a dungeon break occurred. Since more than a year has passed, it became common knowledge that those who were awakened were able to use skills, whether inherently gained or from skill books, to perform amazing feats and vanquish monsters. These awakened beings could increase their strength by killing more monsters and absorbing the life cores they dropped. This added 3 attributes: vitality, focus, and strength. So why the hell was my focus empty? I tried not to be depressed as I felt my body change somewhat after I was awakened. I seemed to have become slightly stronger and could instinctively cast the skill I just learned. The problem was it even possible to cast skills if I didn't have any focus? Why the hell was it blank though? My exhilaration of awakening slowly faded away as I couldn't figure out the numbers, or lack thereof, on the blue screen in front of me. Looking back, nothing like this seemed to come to mind from the news and everything I've been paying close attention to. I figured I'd have to figure it out as I went. Vitality and strength were average, but focus is what was required to cast skills and increase damage. Could I even cast Fireball if I didn't know how much focus I had? Usually, most average people who were awakened could cast F-tier skills 5 times before they completely depleted the energy in their bodies. The larger the focus, the higher tier skills you could cast, and the more times you could cast them. Since awakened mages were extremely powerful, focus cores were much more in demand than vitality cores and strength cores. Awakened mages could shoot their skills at a long distance and not even give the monsters a chance to retaliate, while awakened berserkers and awakened knights had to get up close to fight. I was hoping to awaken to become a mage. Without wallowing in melancholic thoughts anymore, I tried the last Hail Mary I could. I cast the skill I just learned. I used Fireball, a common F-rank skill that many F-ranked Awakened have. I stepped out of my small apartment and headed to an empty barren field behind the apartment complex. Rent had become increasingly more expensive as buildings that had high security, where you wouldn't suddenly lose your life, were high-priced. I had to move quite a distance to get to the barren field before I could begin testing my first skill, and possibly my last. I hyped myself up and raised my hand in front of me. "Fireball!" I called out. A small ball of flames came to light in front of me, much to my shock and disbelief. Along with the shock came exhilaration. I could still cast skills, even though my focus bar didn't show anything. Putting my shock aside, I commanded the fireball to move forward before it exploded a few feet from me. I wanted to test to see if I could at least cast the average 5 fireballs that normal F-ranked Awakened could cast. "Fireball! Fireball! Fireball!" I screamed. 3 more fireballs were shot and exploded in front of me. It increased the shock as well as the happiness in my heart. At least I have average skills, even if it didn't show up on the stats panel. Weirdly enough, I did not feel any less energy in my body. My focus might be blank to begin with, so I didn't really feel much. I focused once more as I cast what was probably my last fireball until I rested for a while. Fireball! The 5th fireball flew out and exploded just like the ones before. With a smile on my face, I wiped the perspiration on my forehead. I felt instant relief. Being average was not bad, and at least with this, I could count myself among the top of many people in the world today. I was still confused about the fact that no numbers were showing on my focus, though. It meant I couldn't gauge just how much energy I had and how many times I could cast my skill. I hesitantly raised my hand again to see just how many times I could cast my fireball. Fireball! 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 The more times I cast the skill and more fireballs flew and exploded in front of me, the more shocked I became. Fireball! The shock soon turned into incredulousness, as I had counted more than 50 fireballs flying from me and exploding. This was 10 times the normal amount of energy an average F-rank had. I tried to breathe to calm myself down. 10 times. That means my energy ranked near D Awakened. That was extremely rare, as long distance Awakened with skills like Fireball could easily take down an F-rank monster, and 3 to 4 fireballs or equivalent skills can take care of E-ranked monsters. D-ranked Awakened individuals also could triumph over D-ranked monsters fairly easily with good usage of their skills. Could it be that I was one of the talented Awakened ones? I tried to push down the pride that began rising before calling out another fireball because I still didn't feel like I was out of energy. This both scared me and made me extremely hopeful for the future. I kept casting the skill, and I didn't really feel any energy leaving, nor did I feel exhausted. When I reached 100 casts, my shock increased. When it reached 300, my head was pounding. When it reached 500 casts, my whole body shook. I breathed heavily before looking around me. I was fairly deep into the barren field and had the cover of trees behind me. Glancing around, I made sure there was nobody around me. I rushed back to my apartment and tried to calm my nearly exploding heart. 500 times I had cast an F-rank skill and I didn't feel any exhaustion. What the hell was going on? I was determined to find out.